on? Y'all know who it is. It's One Nation Israelite School. Coming with a Monday class. We're going to dive right into this. We're going to dive right into it. Give me 1 second, though. 1 second. And then we'll send up the prayers. All right? Give me a moment. Send up the prayers. All right. Title of the class is I love my husband, or do I? For those who pay attention, who keep up with us, you know, I already did the class, the men's version. I was planning on doing something else tonight, but then things came up, and as you know, I'm one of the people I teach. If something comes up and it needs to be addressed, I'll drop whatever I had originally planned and I'll switch over to teach according to that issue. So here's tonight's class. I love my husband, or do I? So it's the women's version tonight, all right? So with that, let's send up the prayers and then we'll get right into the class. Thank you, Father God, for another day, another night. Thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for giving us another chance and another day and another breath and another hour. Another chance just to get ourselves together before you call our numbers or you decide to crack that sky open. Father God, give us the strength to purge out all the iniquities that lie deep within our minds, lie deep within our bodies. Father God, help us to purge ourselves from those things. Father God, as we dive into your word, we're praying for strength and understanding that we may be able to draw something from out of your word and be able to apply it to our day-to-day lives. Father God, we give you the glory and the praise and the honor. We thank you for the abundance of all things, for our jobs, even though they may be burdensome, but they are there, and if they are sustaining us, that we may not go poor, or at least we can at least feed ourselves and not have to steal. Father God, we ask that if the wages are too small for our situation, Father God, we know you know it, but we praying for the increase, that we may be able to sustain ourselves, you know, with the chief things of life, the water, bread, clothing, and a house to cover shame. Father God, for those who are lonely, send them wives. Send the women who are lonely husbands. Father God, but help us get ourselves together that we may grow into unison and to be able to be a well-oiled machine within your laws, statutes, and commandments, that we may be able to raise a righteous household. In your Son Christ's name, we give you the glory, the praise, and the honor, and we thank you. Amen. All right. All right. Actually, I'm going to do no incense tonight. I'm going to cut this out. All right. All right. So now, let's go ahead and get right into it. All right. So, do I love my husband? This is for the women. All right. This class is basically a rebound, pick-up version, because I did the men's version last week. Okay. So, no, the week before. I did that the week before. All right. So, do I love my husband? It's a good topic because a lot of women think they love their husband, but then, and once again, this is also a series, in a part of that series, the Problems 31 Women. This class is for you. You'll find out that a lot of women think they love their husband, but they actually don't. And if I was to just tell you you don't love your husband, you would say, how you going to tell me you don't know me and all this other stuff. So rather than that, let's go through the scriptures. Let's go through the scriptures and navigate. And hopefully if you can draw something out of it and apply it. Or it can alter your mind, because the Bible should ultimately alter our minds into seeing, okay, damn, I don't love my husband, but I really want to. Okay, do what you're going to do. You got to make the necessary adjustments. All right. Now this class, a lot of it's going to come from the hip because I didn't have, like I told you, I was planning to do something else, but something came up, and that's what altered my class tonight. All right. So, do you love your husband? I mean, you love your husband, or do you? Well, first and foremost, let's start as good as place as any. Let's go to Titus chapter 2. Titus chapter 2. We're going to start at verse 3. All right. Titus chapter 2 and verse 3. The aged woman, meaning you older women, you women in this truth, the women who've been in this truth longer, because that makes you an aged woman. You could be 26, but you've been in this truth since you was freaking 15. And there's a lady that's 40-some years old came into the truth yesterday. You're the aged woman to her. So basically the aged woman is the experienced woman, the learned woman. Okay? But in this case, you older women. Let's touch that. The aged woman. The aged woman. The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness. Becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things. Teachers of good things. All right? So now, what are the things they're supposed to be teaching? That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. Okay, so the scripture just said that the aged woman is to teach the younger women how to love their husbands. Right? So that tells us, naturally, you may think you know how to love your husband, but you actually indeed have to be taught these things. And it says the aged woman should be teaching these things. But there goes a problem. The aged woman is supposed to be taught. A young woman has to be taught how to love her husband. And how do you teach these things? See, a lot of women read the scriptures and just take the teacher part and think they can sit in front of the camera or sit in front of the congregation and teach. No. The things that this is telling you to teach, these are taught by examples. This is taught by examples. By your actions, you teach the younger woman to love her husband. By your actions, you teach the younger woman how to love her children. By your actions, you teach the woman how to be a teacher, a keeper of home, obedient to her husband. By your actions. How can you teach the younger woman to love her husband and you not leading by example? That's been a hypocrite. As a fact, watch this. Let's go to Matthew 7 and 5 real quick. This is for you aged women who like to teach. You want to be the example. You want to be the one that seems to be holier than thou, right? Okay, well, Matthew chapter 7 verse 5. Thou hypocrite. Fast. Notice what he called it. He said, thou hypocrite. So he says, you're a hypocrite. First cast out the beam out of thine own eye. Then thou shalt see clearly to cast out the mote in thy brother's eye. So we're going to plug in for the women. Thou hypocrite. First cast out the beam out of thy own house. First love your own husband right. First be obedient to your own husband. First you be sober-minded. First you be a keeper of home. Before you try to teach. And then thou can cast out clearly the mote out of thy sister's eye. Before you can teach her these things, you have to be in order with these things. Okay? So, how can you, it goes right back, how can you teach her if you're not doing it, or you're not applying the actions first. To love your husband. All right, so now watch. Let's go back to Titus again. Let's go back to Titus. Titus chapter 2, verse, and we'll just pick up at 4. Titus chapter 2, verse 4. That they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands. To love their husbands. Let's read on, verse 5. To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. Right? So, the scripture says to love your husband, the pieces that I want. To love your husband and to be obedient to your husband. Now, that's key. Why? Because it says to love your husband and to be obedient to your husband. Those two things are really in one saying. They're saying the same exact thing. As of that, watch this. What is love? I'm gonna break it down to you in that form. What is love? We're going to St. John chapter 14 and verse 15. We're gonna make it quick. St. John chapter 14 and verse 15. If ye love me, keep my commandments. If ye love me, keep my commandments. If ye love me, keep my commandments. It's saying the same thing. It's saying the same thing. Just like Christ put it in words, the Father was saying, if you love me, keep my commandments. The scripture just said in Titus, love your husbands and to be obedient to your husbands. Now, the reason I went to the Lord saying, because we're going to tie that all in together. It's saying the same exact thing. It's saying the same exact thing. Commandments, you have to be obedient to the commandments. Your husband is your Lord. Let's get that real quick. 1 Peter chapter 3, and we're going to start at verse 5. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 5. And it reads, for after this manner, in the old times, holy women also who trusted in the Lord. So if you trust in the Lord, if you're a holy woman and you trust in the Lord, you're going to apply these things that are coming out. It says, after this manner, in the old times, holy women also who trusted in God, adorned themselves, being in subjection to their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. Right? So your husband is your Lord, right? I want to get something else out here real quick too. Whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well. So when you read in John, if ye love me, keep my commandments. If you're not keeping the commandments, you don't love God. It says, just like here, whose daughters ye are, as long as you do well. If you're not obeying your husband as your Lord, if your husband is not the Lord to you, then you're not a daughter of Sarah. You are a heathen. And for that cause, you will not enter into the kingdom of the Most High God, right? So watch this. It says, as long as you do well and are not afraid with any amazement. That's big, because some of you women, you call your husband Lord, right? But if your friends are standing around, all of a sudden, you treat him like the Lord, that goes out the window because you care about what everybody else thinks. No, you're supposed to be, that's when it says without any amazement, meaning you're not ashamed to be obedient to your husband. You're not ashamed to call your husband your Lord. You're not ashamed. Watch this. So, I'm going to read it one more time. For after this manner, in the old times, holy women also who trusted in God adorned themselves, being in subjection. Being in subjection means submission or obedience unto their own husband, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. Your husband is your Lord. But now, here's the next piece to the obedience and loving your husband. Sarah called Abraham Lord. Your husband is your Lord. So now, watch this. Go to Luke chapter 6, verse 46. Luke chapter 6 and verse 46. Because now, Lord just becomes a title if you're not going to be obedient or obey your husband, right? Just like Lord just becomes a title if you're not keeping the commandments. Luke chapter 6 verse 46. Why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? So Christ said, why call me Lord, Lord, and do not the things I say? Why call your husband Lord, Lord, and do not things he say? Why even call him your husband if you're not going to do the things that he say? If you're disobedient, you don't love your husband, and technically you shouldn't even call him husband because you do not the things he say, because your husband is your Lord. And you are commanded to be in obedience to your Lord. Just like the Most High said, if you love me, you're going to keep my commandments. If you love your husband, you're going to be in submission and obedience to your husband. That's if you love your husband. Now, a lot of women, right now, you find out already that you really don't love your husband. Why? Because if your husband says something, you're ready to argue. You got to go back and forth. If your husband tell you something, and it ain't what you want to hear, it's an issue. You mad all night long. It's a problem. Right now, somebody's finding out, I don't love my husband. Your husband tell you, no, you can't do this right now. It turns to a full-blown argument. Or you will say the hell with what he said and do it anyways. Some of you will find out right now, you don't love your husband. All right, so now, watch this. Like I said, going back with all the back and forth. And which brings me to my next point. Which brings me right back to my next point, the back and forth thing. Some of you, you're not keepers at home, and some of you are not discreet whatsoever. Let's go back to Titus. 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 Chapter 2. Some of you wives right now finding out you don't love your husband. Just right now. Titus chapter 2. My hot tea. Titus chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 5 again. It says, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. They are supposed to be discreet and keepers at home. Discreet and keepers at home. Which brings me to my next point, the discreet part. Some of you women have, remember the scripture said that the aged woman is supposed to teach the younger women these things. Some of you women have completely missed the training part of being discreet. A lot of you wives and a lot of you women have completely missed that part of the training. Some of you women have absolutely no idea of what it means to be discreet. And in no way, shape, or form are you discreet. Discreet means to not spread your business, you or your husband's business, all over the place. Some of you women don't have no idea of what it is to be discreet, and you're in no way, shape, or form discreet. To be discreet is to not spread your business all over the place. And some of you wives, I'm going to be honest with you, you don't love your husband. You love Facebook. Some of you wives love Facebook and not your husbands. I see women posting all their information and everything that them and their husband go through all over social media, on Facebook. It's crazy. You can tell when they good. You can tell when they're on good terms. You can tell when they're on bad terms. You can tell when they're making love, and you can tell when they're fighting. And you can tell when they're fighting. That's just completely out of order. Posting all y'all business all over Facebook. As soon as you get mad, you become the keyboard monster. You're all over Facebook. When you're finally happy again, you're all over Facebook. Some of you women, everybody on the job know what's going on in your bedroom. Everybody in your neighborhood know what you and your husband going through. Everybody, your business is everywhere. Some of you women have never learned what it is to be discreet. And the worst part is, if you was put out and got good messages that would be one thing. But 90% of you wives and you women, the only information you put out is bad or negative information concerning your family, your household, and let's keep it into context, your husband. When it concerns your husband, we only know of the evil and bad things. And it's ridiculous. Your household is completely out of order. Watch this. Let's go. Let me show you something. Watch this. Ephesians chapter 4. Some of you women bash your husbands all over social media anytime something goes wrong. You have no idea what it is to be discreet. Straight up, watch this. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse. This is what a lot of you wives fail to. Let's read the scripture. Some of you wives some of y'all just terrible. Brother should have took more time to prove some of y'all women. Ephesians chapter 4 verse 29. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 29. It reads, "Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good, to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers." That it may minister grace unto the hearers. Right? Now, my point is, how is me posting on social media, my husband laid me down good last night, how is that edifying to anybody? How is that edifying? How is bashing your husband edifying? How is you telling us he weak edifying? How is straight up negativity? He weak, he a punk, he this, I don't like him. I hate men who try to control me. All that type of foolishness stuff. How is that going to be edifying to anybody? Some of you wives have no idea what it is to be discreet. How good his bedroom is. How terrible he is in the bedroom. All that type of foolishness. Oh, he's so abusive this, he abusive that. You should have took more time to prove him. Especially you provocative wives. And you know what I mean. Some of you wives know who you are. You are very, you got that little dirty, filthy mouth, and you keep provoking them and poking at it until you finally get a reaction. Then you go on Facebook. He's the devil. He this. He put his hands on me. Some of you women, the man be upset. Listen, I don't want to talk about it right now. Oh, you gonna talk to me about it? You gonna talk to me? We gonna talk right now. I don't want to talk right now. You said to keep poking at him. Next thing you know, you don't got mad because you trying to beat the ants out of him, and he told you don't want to talk about it. Then next thing well, F you pussy ass this, blah blah, and then pop. He hit me. He crazy. He hit me in my forehead. All that foolishness. Sister, he ain't crazy. The man told you he didn't want to talk. But some of you women, you'll provoke that thing out of a man. I'm not condoning any man hitting any woman. I want to put that out. We don't condone any man hitting any woman. But what I'm trying to show you is some of you wives provoke things. You push things to a point that it should never get to. Right? And what I'm trying to show you is, let's get back to the point. Some of you women put all your business everywhere. And just for peeps' sake, and if your husband is abusive, bring that to the pastor. Bring that to us. Bring that to your spiritual leaders. Bring that to us. You don't bring that to your spiritual leader, whoever you follow, whatever your spiritual leader is, your pastor, I hope you're in the Israelite movement because the Sunday church is garbage. But bring that to the leaders, not to Facebook. If there's issues in the house that can't seem to get worked out amongst you two, bring that to the leaders. Don't take it to Facebook. And if we can't rectify it, then you may need to separate. You may need to separate. That's how you properly deal with it. Not by taking it to Facebook. Not taking it to social media. And there's another thing. Some of you sisters, you come and you receive counsel, right? And then we'll tell you, you know what? Right now, the issue at that place, it just sounds terrible. It's bad. You need to separate. If you're going to stay there after you receive counsel to separate, then we don't want to hear about it. Keep it off of Facebook and don't bring it back to me. Because Some of you women are spiritual vampires. You suck the life and the spirit out of the room with your foolishness. So you went and received spiritual counsel, and that spiritual counseling, the conclusion of the whole counsel was you need to separate, give this man some time to get himself together, because right now he just went off. And you decide you're going to stay anyways. I don't want to hear about it then. But the point is, if your husband is abusive, bring that to the spiritual leaders. And if we can't rectify it, we'll tell you, okay, you need to separate for a moment. That's how you properly deal with that. You don't take it to Facebook. You don't take it to Facebook. You don't take it to Facebook. And then y'all wonder why all these kids are so quick to grab a cell phone and scream World Star. Scream World Star. Post up all this stuff on. Because your example, remember, the age woman is to teach the young woman. But your example has been to post all your business on social media. So what do you think they're going to do? Because your example showed them to post all their information on social media. That's why these kids are so quick to grab a phone and scream World Star today. Because your examples have been shitty. Alright? So now, the point is, you wives are supposed to be discreet. You wives are supposed to be discreet. As a fact, watch this. Let's go to 1 Timothy. Let's go to 1 Timothy 5 and 13. You know what I'm saying? Some of you women are terrible when it comes to, you have no sense, no understanding of what it is to be discreet. You know what I'm saying? How, if me and and I'm talking as in the wife state, if you and your husband is going through some things. You going through, let's say last night y'all got into an argument. Facebook shouldn't know that. Facebook should not know that. I'm quite sure you got people that are close enough to you, especially if you're Israelite, you got congregation, you got all these things, if it's to that measure. But in a lot of cases, what I'm telling you is, nobody should know how good your sex was last night. That's not being discreet. Nobody should know how bad the sex was last night. That's not being discreet. The whole damn east side of Orlando shouldn't know that you and your husband just had a fight. Lord forbid, because y'all shouldn't get to a point of having a physical fight. But some of you women, the point of it is the scriptures say teach the young women to be discreet. Discreet is a big part of, that's one of the commandments you have to fulfill, one of the laws you have to fulfill for you to get into the kingdom. And some of you are going to fall off to the edge. Some of you are going to die behind Facebook. I'm telling you. Some of you wives are going to get put to death behind Facebook, Snapchat, all this other foolishness, because discreet also means to cover yourself up. Also, we shouldn't be seeing big booty Judy all over the damn Facebook. On Snapchat, you got your camel toe showing. Your cleavage hanging all out where we can see your titties and stuff. It shouldn't be like that. You're not discreet in the least ways. Then you wonder why these young girls getting pregnant before they even get to the 10th grade of high school. Because your examples have them dressing like harlots. And guess what? The horny Negro want that harlot. He horny. He want a piece. Some of these girls, they dress older than... Some of these girls, the way they dress, it's hard to tell that they're young. I mean, especially with the steroids they put into the food. These girls look, you got girls in high school look like they look older than 27-year-old women. And then the way they dress makes them, damn, she dressed just like the strip at the club. But whose fault is that? You parents. How about you, women that's supposed to be keep at home, teaching a young woman to dress modestly? But your example is your skirt stop way above your knees. You wear these V-cut shirts where the only thing covered damn near is just the brown part of your breast, because everything else show. We can see your whole cleavage. I shouldn't know you got a paw across your titty. I shouldn't know you got a flower on your hip and a damn vine stretched across like it's getting ready to touch your vagina. But because you dress so indiscreetly, I have no choice but to know that, damn, When she walked by and you ain't gotta walk by no more. All you gotta do is get on Facebook and do like this. Before your finger come up, 4 or 5 pictures will come up with women half dressed. You're not teaching them to be discreet. You gotta lead by example. And guess what? If you really cared about your husband, the dude that you got on your Facebook telling something I'm married to, you wouldn't have your body showing like that. You would cover yourself up because you know what? My goodies is for my husband. He should be the only one to know that I got a tattoo that say Mikey across the breast. Even though you shouldn't have a tattoo. According to the law. According to the law. But if you just so happen to did it before you got into the truth, that's something that should be discreet. Nobody should be able to walk up to your husband and tell your husband what type of tattoos you got on your body. Or what kind of marks you got. You know, I know she got that birthmark on her thigh. That thing's sexy. I wouldn't know that if he was covering it. He wouldn't know that if he was covering it. Some of y'all won't get to put to death because being discreet is one of you sisters' biggest issues, biggest problem in this captivity. All right, watch this. But let's get back to running your mouths all the time, telling all your business. Give me 1 Timothy. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 13. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 13. And it reads, and withal, they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers, and also busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. Some of you women are tattlers. Remember, it said to be idle. It said to go. It's 3 things in there. It said to be idle, to be tattlers, and to be going from house to house and speaking things that you ought not. That's some of you women. That's just what I was just talking about. How you women are tattlers. You get on there and you tell every single thing that goes on in your relationship. You tell every single thing that goes on in your house. Some women talk so much and tell so much, they friends know how much their husband made. That your friends know how much your husband bring home on a check. That's a damn shame you talk that much that your friend know how much your husband make on his job. That's a damn shame. You talk entirely too much. And then it says, speaking things that you should not. First of all, you shouldn't be telling nobody how much your husband made. Speaking things that you should not. You shouldn't be speaking about how good your husband's sex is to another woman. You shouldn't be talking about how bad your husband's sex is to another woman. Your husband's sex bad? Y'all two figure that amongst yourselves how y'all can make it interesting. How you can make it better. Yeah, but that ain't Facebook business. You know, speaking things that you ought not. Ooh, I'm so horny. I need somebody to come. Blah blah blah. Say me. Ooh, I wish somebody would do me like blah blah blah. Pick me up, toss me, throw me around. That's not every. What are you doing? You speaking stuff you ought not to be speaking. Get on Facebook. Type in y'all argument and oh, he said this to me and I said this and then he said this and I was like, boy, bye. What are you doing? Some of you women, I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of you women, some of you got good husbands. It's just when you don't get what you want, or because he's not a weak man and he a yes man, everything you want to do and spend money that he know he ain't got to spend, it's an issue there. So now y'all argue about it. When he say do something, you don't feel like doing it. Now y'all arguing. That's some of you women. You go around speaking things you should not be speaking. What goes on in your house? How y'all? I've never understood it. I've never understood it. Some of you women are gonna be put to death. Some of you women right now find out you don't love your husband because as soon as you get into an argument, do you get on the phone and call people and tell everybody what just happened between you and your husband? That's not being discreet. That's speaking of things that you shouldn't be speaking. That's being a tattler. Tattler, you got a friend that confided in you, told you some of her secrets or whatever, and you ran around spreading what you done heard. That's being a tattler. Some of y'all friends, y'all know you and your friend was getting ready to go out, and you happened to roll to her house with her and her husband. Her and her husband went in the room and had a discussion, and they got into a little argument or whatever. You go back and repeat the things that you heard them two arguing about. That's been attacked. That's speaking things that you ought not to be speaking. Some of you wives, y'all gonna be put to death behind that thing. Some of y'all gonna be put to death behind that thing. All right, watch this. Let's read 1 Timothy 5:13. As a fact, you tell speaking things that you shouldn't be speaking. That's you women who all over Facebook. You all over Facebook posting all y'all information. You are completely indiscreet. Some of you women, I'm gonna be honest, some of you women are a burden from God. Some of you women are a burden from God, because you damn sure ain't this. Watch this. You damn sure ain't this. Let's get Sirach. Let's get Sirach real quick. Sirach 26:14. Now, I said some of you women are a burden from God. Why did I say that? Because you're definitely the opposite of a gift from God. And we're going to read. What's a gift from God? Shalom. Shalom. What's a gift from God? Sirach 26:14. And it reads, a silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Lord. Some of you women are you damn sure not this. So that means you got to be a burden from the Lord. You a burden from the Lord. You a wicked woman that was given to the portion of a wicked man. All right, now watch this. 1 Timothy 5:13 again. I want to get back to something else. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 13. And withal, they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, wandering about from house to house, wandering about from house to house. Let me show you something about one. You know these wandering about from house to house. I mean, you from this person's house to that person's house, from this person's house to that person's house, from this person's house to that person's house. You everywhere except for at home where you should be. I know some women, they ain't never at home. And that's some of you wives. You ain't never at home. Your husband at work, you all around the city. From this person's house to that person's house. You're never at home. Watch it. Let me show you the attributes of who you acting like when you ain't never home. A woman that ain't at the house. And some of you women, you work to the point where you never at home. That ain't good either. You work all the time. You ain't never at home. That ain't good either. And then you wonder why your marriage on the rocks. Because your ass ain't where you're supposed to be, at home. Watch this. Watch this. And don't get me wrong, because you may have some situations where, hey, your husband say, damn, baby, you know what? I need help. He don't make the income enough to sustain both of y'all by himself. So, yeah, he need that help. But there's a limit. Some of you women are entrepreneurs. You don't have an actual 9 to 5. You got your own little businesses that you do, you do your thing, and you spend too much time at it. And with even having a job, you still got duties as a wife that you got to fulfill. But if you done completely just threw your duties to the side to be this working lady, this entrepreneur, you neglected your duties as a wife. Watch this. Proverbs chapter 7 verse 10. So let me show you what you acting like. Let me show you the attributes of the person that you are if you ain't never at home for a woman. Proverbs chapter 7 verse 10. And behold, there met him a woman with an attire of an harlot, and subtle of heart. An attire of an harlot. The attire of an harlot. Watch this. Verse 11. She is loud and stubborn, and her feet abide not in her house. Her feet abide not in her house. I mean, she ain't never at home. She ain't never at home. A harlot is never at home. If you're a woman and you're never at home, you are fitting the attributes of a harlot. A harlot is a nice way of saying a hoe. Hoes don't be at home. Hoes be everywhere except home. And if you are a woman that is never home, you may not be hoeing, but you're fulfilling the roles and attributes of a hoe. And that's just what it is, what it is. You like it, hate it, like it, love it, whatever. I don't give a damn. Get mad, pop your face, and blow your ass up. I don't care. It is what it is. Watch this. You're never at home. That's a direct contradiction to what? Titus 2 and, let's go back to Titus chapter 2 verse 5 again. A direct contradiction to Titus chapter 2 and verse 5. Why? Because you're never at home. And what does Titus 2 and 5 say? To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home. To be a keeper at home. To be a keeper at home. So now, with that, let's go back to Timothy chapter 5. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 13 again. 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 13. And it reads, and withal, they learn to be idle. They learn to be idle. That's the last. I want to touch that. I want to touch being idle real quick. Idle means. Let's just get the definition real quick for y'all. Idle means to do nothing. In other words, but just for people who might not take my word for it, let's read it. Idle. A person avoiding work, lazy. A person not working, unemployed. Another one. A person doing nothing. A person doing nothing. So, idle means to be doing nothing. Idle means to be doing nothing. And that's the reason why a lot of you women pick up those attributes, because you do absolutely nothing. That's why some of you women stay getting kicked out of your places. You can't keep a man. Or you can't keep your husband, because I don't promote boyfriend and girlfriend. But for y'all women, y'all know y'all in the world, y'all go from man to man, and you can't seem to keep one. Why? Because you're idle. And when you're idle, you pick up attributes like what? A person that wanders from house to house. You pick up the tattler. You pick up the indiscreet spirit. You pick up the spirit of a person that is not a keeper of home. That's why a lot of you women always in the middle of something. You're always arguing. You're always getting put out. It's always something going on with you. Why? Because you become idle. You need to find something to do. You're idle. You need to find something to do. Hell, a woman has too many roles to play in a day to be idle. But if you're not, you know why? Because you're not doing nothing. That's why you're so idle, though. But you're not doing nothing, meaning you're lazy. You're not doing nothing. You will avoid work. You're lazy. So now the thing you can't do is gossip. Run from house to house. Post up all your business on social media. Simply because you're idle. You're not doing nothing. Let me show you what you could do. You could cook. How about that? You can start out with cooking. How about that? Men like to eat. Why don't you get your ass in there and cook? Watch this. We're going to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. A virtuous woman, which is what all you women in this truth are supposed to be striving to be. You're supposed to be striving to be a virtuous woman. The Bible says who can find her. Why? Because there ain't many out there. And it says it says that her price is far above rubies. Her price is far above rubies, meaning she's priceless. There's nothing that can amount up to a virtuous woman. All right, watch this. Let's jump down to verse 14. She is like a merchant's ship. She bringeth her food from afar. So that's what I was just saying about how some of you women work too much to the point where you can't take care of your wifely duties. Well, understand, it's not a bad thing if you work. Your husband may say, you know what, I need you to help me right now. We don't make enough for me to sustain us by ourselves. So yeah, you may have to have a job. That's why it says she is like the merchant's ship. She bringeth her food from afar. Mean she don't mind, she go to work. She don't mind going to work, and she'll buy groceries and bring groceries home and whip up a meal. She bringeth her food from afar. She go out and work and bring home food. And said, a man is to provide. Yes, he is to provide, but damn, he may need some help. And your job, hey, you have to help him. Hey, go help. Go cook. Go get a job. But don't forget your duties is to prepare food. And we're going to prove that. Watch this. Verse 15. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. So it says, she riseth while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household. That means she gets her butt up and cook. I don't know if y'all ever grew up around a real woman, or an old school woman, or a country woman. A real woman, like where I'm from, in the country, when women, breakfast, women be done laid the whole table out with a big king-size breakfast. By 4 or 5 in the morning, grandma be up cooking. When granddaddy get home from work, the house be smelling like all types of food and seasonings because she done cooked. And says she riseth while it is yet night, meaning before the sun come up, she's in there and she done prepared a nice breakfast. By the time the rooster crow, it's time to eat breakfast. That's what it means. So this is telling you, yeah, some women, she gonna go get a job and she gonna go get a job or whatever. But guess what? This particular woman, not only does she have a job, but she hasn't forgot. If she had to go get a job, she hasn't forgot that it's still her job to cook and feed her man. Verse 16. She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard. So this sister will go out and make a garden. Old school woman, they not going to the store to get collard greens. They got collard greens in the yard. They're not going down the street to get tomatoes. They got tomatoes done grew in the yard. She plants a vineyard. She plants a garden in her. There's a garden in her yard. All right. She eats off the land. Okay. And remember this. Some of you women, this is what you have to remember. If you do so happen to work. In this captivity, we know that Esau has put the woman on a plateau to put her above the man. So you have to be humble. Don't forget that, because some of you women, you'll get a job, right? And because of the way society set up, Esau will pay you more than your husband. Some of you women make more money than your husband. Don't let that get you beside yourself and get you kicked out of the kingdom. Because some of you women are going to make more money than your husband. That don't mean, oh, you got to throw it up in his face because you make more money than him. If you're doing that, you are the devil himself. You done fell completely out the spirit. That was just like welfare, to make the man unimportant. Now you make more money than your husband. Now you belittle him, you talk bad to him, you talk down on him, you feel like you got to listen to him because you make more money than him. That is the spirit of the devil. Remember, yes, your husband may need your help. And in some cases, you may end up making more money than him. You may make more money than him. Good. Then help him out. Why? Because your duty as a wife. As a man, watch this. I'm going to show you something. Let me show you something. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 18, and it reads, and the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. You are a helpmeet. A helpmeet. Your job is to help your husband in whatever way he says he needs the help. If it wasn't for man, there would be no woman. I'm going to just put it like that. If man wasn't here, you wouldn't exist. You want to know why? Because Adam wouldn't have needed a... If Adam wasn't created, there would have been no need to make a helpmeet. So don't get beside yourself because you make, some of you wives make more money than your husband. That shouldn't be something you throw up in his face. You know what you should be doing? Okay, baby, I made this much. What can I do this week to help? What you need me to do? That's your role right there. That's your role. That's how you. As a fact, let's precept that. Let's precept that. Let's go to Sirach 36. Sirach 36 and 24. Sirach chapter 36 verse 24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. He that getteth a wife getteth a possession. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. Why? Because you're going to take his name. You're going to create his children. His name is going, you're the vessel that is going to keep his name going, to build up his lineage, to build up the house of his name. You are a possession, in other words. Now, that's not to treat you any kind of way, but don't get beside yourself because you may make a little bit more money. Verse 24 again. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. A helpmeet, a help like unto himself. You are a help, not a lead. You are a help, not a lead. You know what a help does? Whatever that's asked. You know what, baby? I need help paying the lights this month. As a fact, you may such, put this towards the lights. You know what else a help would do? If you have a husband that's in his truth, right? Let's say his job is working the hell out of him. He trying to keep the Sabbath, but this job makes him work. If you are a good wife or help, you know what you should be doing while he's at work? You should, before he go to work, baby, let me get your social security card and write down this information so I can know, because you're going to fill out applications for him while he's trying to find something else, but the job is killing him. He still got to pay the bills. So guess what? If you at home, what you need to be doing is filling out applications to get him somewhere else where he can start keeping the Sabbath. You are a help like unto himself. And a pillar of rest, a support system. A pillar is a support system, a comfort. That's what you're supposed to be. Not somebody who beating him down all up in his face because you make more money than him. You didn't have nothing when I met you. Shut up. You drive men crazy. That's why half of you can't keep one. Shut your mouth and play your role. Thank you. That'll be very nice. So don't get beside yourself because of that. As a fact, and all right, so now, I'm showing you all the things that you can do to stop from being idle. 1 is cook. 2 is you can help by cooking. You can get a job and help around and help. And how about cleaning? You already, and if you got children, of course you know your job is to be an example. That's a full-time job being a mother anyway. But now you, okay, let's say you got a little job. Help him with whatever, help him wherever he says necessary. Cook. How about cleaning? Watch this. I'm gonna show you something. Some of you women, if your woman would clean up, it'll stop the cleanup woman from taking your man. The cleanup woman is a side, that side woman jump. I don't believe in that either. But a lot of women wonder why they men have a side woman, a woman on the side, or a man, or they trick y'all and tell y'all they can get 2 or 3 wives. You wonder why the men be wanting 2 or 3 wives? Because some of you women won't clean. Let me show you what the side woman do. Watch this. If the side woman is doing this and it's successfully taking your man, it will behoove you to start doing the same thing. Watch this. Watch this. This is what the side woman do. Now remember, in this context of Proverbs chapter 7, it was talking about the harlot who was running the streets. She found, watch this. I got to read this to you. Watch this. Let me show you how the side woman do. It says, so she caught him and kissed him with the impudent face and said unto him, I have a peace offering with me this day. Have I prayed my vows? Therefore I came forth to meet thee diligently, seeking thy face, and I have found thee. So for one, the side woman ain't arguing. She ain't a headache. You know what I'm saying? When you argue, that's why you think when most of y'all argue, your man get up and leave. Because you arguing. The side woman don't want to argue. She just want a little bit of time. Watch this. So in other words, it's telling you to shut your mouth. Stop arguing all the time. Stop going back and forth. That's the point I'm trying to bring out to you. Okay, now let's get to the part of how she cleans. It says, therefore I came forth to meet him, to meet thee diligently, to seek thy face, and I have found thee. I have decked my bed with covering of tapestry, with carved works, with fine linen of Egypt. So she got them new nice, she ain't got the cheap bed, she got the nice bread sheets all over the bed, right? Watch this. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. So that bed smells delicious, in other words. She got that thing scented out. So you know the bed ain't the only thing cleaning. The house, the house is clean. And she done tricked him because that bed, when he jumped in, when he flopped back in that bed, that cinnamon, myrrh, and aloe smell hit him in his nose. He was locked. He was locked in right then and there. So that's telling you women, change your bed spreads. Get that bed smelling right. When that man lay in that bed, it's supposed to smell like Bath Beyond and Body Works. It's supposed to smell all types of oils and fragrances. That's what the harlot gonna do. Watch this. He says, I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come and let us take our love until the morning. So she said, come on in here. I'm going to put this thing on you. Some of you women, stop getting mad and cutting off that nookie. You better put it on them. Because that's what the side woman going to do. I'm just sitting here. I'm just giving you the facts. You ain't got to like it. It is what it is. But the woman said she going to have that bed. She going to, first of all, she going to speak smooth words to him, meaning build his confidence back up. Then she going to walk him into a house that's nice and clean and the bed smell delicious. Then she going to lay him down, feed him, probably bathe him, wash his little toes, dry him off, throw him in that bed where it smell like straight perfume, oils and cinnamons and all that other goodness. And guess what? She says she going to put her loving on him till the morning come. She says, come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace. When it says solace, it says, let us comfort ourselves with love or soothe ourselves with love. All right? So, okay, yeah. So now, that's what the harlot going to do. So guess what that means? Women, step your game up. You're going to have to find out. Do you love your husband? Do you love him enough to keep that house clean? Put new bed spreads on the bed. Make sure that thing smell good. Are you good enough to make sure that man got a plate to eat? Are you going to put that good loving on him? Are you going to speak smooth words to him to build his confidence back up after a long day? Some of you women, you come to find out tonight, guess what? You don't really love your husband. But guess what? No sweat. If you find out you don't love your husband, it's a small thing to a journey. That's what the class is for. Fix it. All right? With that, I'm going to say shalom. As a fact, we get Matthew 26. I'm out of here, though. Matthew chapter 26, verse 6. Now when Christ was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment and poured it at his head as he sat at meat. But when the disciples saw it, they had indignation. To what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. But when Christ understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought the good work upon me. Ye have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment upon my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also that this woman hath done be told for memorial of her. Alright? So with that I say shalom. With that I'm going to say shalom. With that I say shalom. Alright, also, to the brothers and sisters, you see the shirt, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the shirt. Y'all brothers and sisters, make sure y'all bring y'all money bring y'all money so at the end of the Sabbath you can get your shirts. Alright? With that, I'm going to say shalom. 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 Alright? Hope the class was edifying.